The Vanishing of Lord Edmonstone. In the sleepy hamlet of Withering Heights, where whispers of yesteryear still lingered amidst the willows, a dark mystery unfurled like a shroud over the cobblestone streets. 'Twas a night when the moon hung low, cloaked in an eerie veil of foreboding clouds, that the venerable Lord Edmonstone was last seen in his grand abode, a manor as ancient as the secrets it harbored. The village awoke to the chilling news. Lord Edmonstone had vanished into the somber embrace of the unknown. A once effervescent Lady Edmonstone, garbed in her widow's weeds, implored the constable, a man of considerable repute named Algernon Hughes, to unearth her husband's whereabouts. With a furrowed brow and the weight of his duty heavy upon his shoulders, Constable Hughes embarked upon an investigation that would lead him through a labyrinth of shadows and deceit. His first visit was to the manor's timeless library, where dust danced like specters in the dim light. Among the leather-bound volumes of forgotten lore and manuscripts lay a solitary clue, an open journal, its final entry scrawled in a hasty script that breathed urgency. Should the hands of fate steer me towards dusk's silent abyss, seek the truth beneath the roots of the elder oak, penned Lord Edmonstone. Constable Hughes traced the inked words with a gnarled finger, the oak's image etched deeply in his mind. "The elder oak," exclaimed Miss Penelope the governess, who had slipped into the room as silent as the night. His lordship often spoke of it in hushed tones. If ever there were a treasure map, 'tis there that X would mark the spot. Under the elder oak, a tree with limbs twisted by time, Constable Hughes toiled till sweat mingled with the earth. With every thrust of his spade, a chorus of caws from the watching ravens filled the air, a macabre audience to his labor. Hours passed, and Hughes's fervor yielded him but a horde of worms and a shiver creeping up his spine. The pit before him yawned empty, a hollow promise, and yet another enigma wrapped in dirt-clad disappointment. His investigation brought him next to the local apothecary, an eccentric fellow by the name of Rupert Blakesley, whose potions were said to carry the whisper of magic. Lord Edmonstone. Yes, curious indeed. Rupert mulled over the disappearance, stroking his wild peppered beard. The last draft I prepared for him was one to banish the fog of the mind. He left with it only 4 days prior to vanishing. It was then the constable remembered a conversation overheard during his inquiries, a sliver of gossip on the lips of a housemaid. She had mentioned a haze that had seemingly claimed the mind of the lord, a confusion that crept upon him as though his soul were ensnared by an invisible foe. Moving on to the manor's stables, Hughes questioned old Jeb, the stable master. The earthy smell of fodder and horse mingled with the tang of Jeb's tobacco. His lordship, Jeb drawled, left me something strange that final eve. His favorite stallion, Bucephalus, he said to free the beast if he didn't return. Never did a man love a horse more than land or title. Vexed by the puzzling task, Constable Hughes bid Jeb release the stallion. With thundering hooves, Bucephalus charged into the twilight. The beast seemed to seek not freedom but a destination. The constable followed on his own mount, eyes steeled against the fading light, until both man and beast arrived at a derelict cottage covered in ivy, its once white walls grimed by neglect. Crossing the threshold, Hughes was met with rows of canisters, each labeled with meticulous care, foxglove, wormwood, nightshade, and there, among them, a vial missing. An ajar drawer yielded a crumpled paper bearing the same script as the lordship's journal. It was a recipe, a curious concoction that married the clarity of mind with whispers of a darker art. Beneath the crumpled recipe lay a letter addressed to Lady Edmonstone, sealed with the emblem of a raven. Its contents were sufficient to waken the dead. Circumstance had not claimed Lord Edmonstone. He had fled from a plot most dire, a scheme to cast his mind into eternal twilight, to render him a prisoner within his own thoughts. He had discovered the plot, laid by those closest to him. The lady, her love turned to malice by unspoken transgressions, had conspired with Rupert Blakesley, the apothecary, to possess the lordship's vast fortunes. The vanished vial, containing the final dose, sat empty, merely a silent witness to their treachery. Constable Hughes hastened back to the manor, to confront the widow and Blakesley with their dark deeds. But upon arrival, he found not a scorned woman nor a treacherous potion maker, but a sullen gathering. News had arrived post-haste. Lord Edmonstone was found by a neighboring village, alive but frail, clutching the truth of his near demise. The night of reckoning was swift. Lady Edmonstone, draped in deceit, and Rupert Blakesley, his alchemical affinity turned to poison, faced the gallows embrace. As he watched justice served, Constable Hughes could not help but ponder the strange tides of fate, how close one might brush with shadow, only to be saved by an instinct to survive. In the heart-shattered ruins of Withering Heights, peace settled once more, like dust upon the aged tomes of history.